Hello. What happens when you take two very passionate and very opinionated ladies and you add in OU football? What do you get, Sean?
Talk Sporty.
Yay! Talk Sporty. This is season 3, episode 12. And Sean and I are here to talk sporty about OU football. We got a huge win last night, Sean, and it
I
was
know.
for your birthday.
I know it was my birthday present. I couldn't even I couldn't have imagined. I didn't even want to wish because I just thought I'd be disappointed. But yes, thank you for my birthday present, OU Sooners.
Didn't they come through?
They
I texted
did.
Shawn on her birthday on Friday and just said, "Hope you have a happy birthday and maybe we'll win a game for you,
Yes,
just for
yes,
you." So
yes.
it was senior night and Shawn's birthday.
Yeah. Yay, we did it. Oh my gosh, it was like crazy and so exciting and just all the things. And so, yeah. And I'm not really even prepared for this podcast because I've been doing birthday stuff with friends. Daughter went to see Wicked. And so, yeah.
That's okay. You
So
were at
we
the
got home
game.
at 1:30 last night. So,
Oh my, oh my. Well, we hung around and just
yeah.
watched the crazy crowd.
Okay,
And
good. Good.
we were it seemed like we were the last people to leave.
Uh-huh.
But of course, that meant there was just tons of traffic just to get back
Right.
to Oklahoma City.
Yes.
It was midnight, I guess, when we pulled in.
Yeah.
And then we had to watch
Okay.
ESPN highlights.
So you actually didn't, we drove all the way to Dallas and still didn't get home that much later than you. We did because we left at the end of the game. We did beat some traffic because,
Oh, okay.
everybody was on the field.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Now, were you there when 28 seconds was left
Oh,
and
gosh, yes.
they stormed it right too early? Well, I thought
It
you
was,
sent me a text and said
yes.
people are lining up to storm the field.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell it.
Yeah.
And then I think, oh, you called a timeout to get Casey Thompson on the field.
Right. Yeah.
And it was then that I think the fans thought the game was over and they just went running out. It was
Gosh.
crazy.
It was crazy. I was just like, yes. So because, we sit on row 25 and the fans were lining up not very long after the 2-minute warning because, and for sure they were lining up after we got that first down,
Okay. Okay.
because then it was just apparent that,
It was just time.
we were going to be able to run out the clock. And, it was, and nobody was trying to do anything about it, which was interesting. Security was not trying to stop them. Dana sits in the upper deck, so it wouldn't have been easy, for people in her area to get down to the field. But, I look at Bree and Brett and I go, it'd be fun, but we can't do that. But the fact that they ran on the field before time was out and not just ran on the field, those goalposts were on the ground.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes. And it's utter chaos and there's still the teams are still out there and yeah, it was just and I took some great pictures from the
You
upper
did.
deck.
You took some great pictures.
I sent them to you just because
Yes.
you could see the whole student section was like empty.
Yeah.
And kind of a corner area too was just totally empty. You could tell
Yes.
where most of the
Mhm.
people
Yeah.
had at least initiated their
Yes.
run.
Oh,
And then they had to get them back off the field
yes.
so they could finish out the 28 seconds.
Yeah.
Which was
and
really just Casey Thompson coming in and taking a knee.
taking a knee. And they tried, at least on the north end zone, they tried to put those goalposts back up. And it kind of got them partway up, but then they start kind of coming down. And finally, they just laid them down because they knew OU wasn't going to try and do it. And I thought, Brett's in there he's going, that's going to make us lose the game. I'm like, Brett, they're not going to take the game away from us because of this. He's going, well, you never know. I go, well, no, but surely we're going to get a penalty for this. This is like the most massive sideline warning in the history of ever, right?
Right.
Although
And
I
didn't hear. Did we get a penalty?
We didn't.
We didn't during the game, but is Greg Sankey going to fine us?
We're going to get fined. Vandy,
I would assume it'll be a big fine.
Yeah, Vandy and Arkansas both got fined for tearing down the goalpost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, well, it really was exciting, though.
Yeah, it really was. I was, had these kind of things in tension and a friend posted the same thing. At first, I'm like, act like you guys have been there before because we have. I mean, we're not Vanderbilt, right?
Right.
All kudos to Vanderbilt and their great season this year, but we're not Vanderbilt. We're not that far removed from conference championships.
Right.
Come on. Don't storm the field until it says 0-0-0. But it was crazy exciting, and it was obvious the fans needed it. I think the players and the coaches liked it too, because I was listening to post game on the way home. You wouldn't have been in the car yet, but
Oh, right, right. We
yeah.
got in about the time they were interviewing Venables. I mean,
Hmm.
that's so we missed essentially most all of the talk about the
Right.
game. Yeah. Yeah.
Although I will tell you that we went through, there was a little bit of traffic on Lindsay. We were south of Riverbend and probably close to Purcell before they actually started interviewing people because of the chaos on the field. It took
Okay.
so long to get the players and the
To get the
coaches
players
off.
off. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
one of the quotes from Jackson Arnold was that he was sore from all the fans
Josh,
slapping him on the head and grabbing his arms and wanting an autograph. He said, "I'm sore and I
my
feel like I'm
goodness.
beat up and bruised from the fans
Oh, wow.
more
And the
than I
guy,
was from the game." And he took a lot of
he
hits.
took a licking during that game too. He did.
He
He
did. So when he
did.
said that, it's like, oh wow, he really must have gotten a lot of that. And again, you couldn't necessarily see what all was
Right.
going,
Yeah.
like who was who, but you could kind of make out a few of the players. Stutzman said he ran to his family
Mm-hmm.
and his sister, and I think the sister was kind of like, "Let's get out of here," and he's kind of like, "How? We can't."
How? And then also, I mean, because when I did hear the players interviewed, they just seemed like they were so happy that they were able to give that experience to the fans.
I agree. I
You
agree.
know,
Yes.
it kind of sounded like they're like, you know what? It was great. I mean, Danny said, he goes, I do kind of wish they'd waited until the end of the game. And apparently Arizona State did the same thing yesterday.
Oh,
They
really?
stormed the
Okay.
field
When
early
they
too.
beat BYU. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So what? We
Wow.
weren't the only
Well,
ones.
I don't know, but it's like, at least watch the clock, fans. I mean, come
I
on, be good
know.
fans and know that the game's not over
Yes.
yet.
And I don't care if they take a knee and it's going. I mean, even the second time, Dana, it still they stormed the field and there was like still time on the
A
clock.
few seconds.
Yes.
Yes.
And I looked at Brett. I go, the game is not over yet. And he goes, yes, it is. I go, Brett. I go, Alabama has a timeout, and if they want to use it, they can.
They could.
The game's
Right.
not over yet.
Right. And I was quite happy that they didn't. But yeah, I mean, I guess at least Kalen DeBoer was like, let's be
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to
Exactly.
change anything.
Yeah. And
Oh
so,
wow. So I mean, I have some of the stats down, but
okay.
anybody that watched the game knows, I mean, we came out, the offense looked great the first possession, and then we take off and we get way down there close to scoring and we fumble. Like,
Yeah, I think that was the second possession.
was that the second possession?
Because I think first we got a first down, and then we
and
didn't,
then punted.
and then
Okay.
punted, and then they came and we stopped them really early, and then
And
then we were like,
it's
what, on the 20? I mean, it was
second
probably
possession on the 20 or 21,
yeah.
and Tatum fumbles, and they get
Mhm.
the ball back, and they take it all the way down the field.
Yeah.
There was a long pass completed, but he was out
Mhm.
of bounds, thank goodness. Otherwise, it would have been a touchdown, but he touched out of bounds about the 11-yard line.
Oh,
And
that's
we
right.
were
Yes.
able to
Yeah.
hold them for a field goal.
Yeah, which was huge. That was huge.
Huge,
Mhm.
yes. And that again is their first score, but they're
Mhm.
3 and we're at 0, and
Mhm.
then that's about the end of the quarter, and you kind of go,
Mhm.
well,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we looked decent for the first
Right.
quarter. We did
Mhm.
okay, but we hurt ourselves. That fumble
Mhm.
hurt us. I mean, we've done this in all the SEC games. We
Correct.
turn over the ball, but Jackson Arnold hadn't turned it over yet. He also, and he didn't throughout the game.
No.
The play calling seemed to be, let's let Jackson keep it and
Mhm.
run. Let's let him
Mhm.
use his legs. Let's not have him throw interceptions, or
Right.
even be
Mhm.
the passes that he completed were lots of little shovel passes.
Yes. Yes.
Didn't you think? Not
Mhm.
not
That's
really
true.
anything major down the field.
Yeah.
But we go down and we score a field goal.
Mhm.
We actually had a missed field goal in there somewhere. That was still in the first quarter that we had a missed field goal. And
Oh,
then we
was that
scored.
still in the first quarter? Okay.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
still in first quarter. And then, well, we had the kind of trick play to Bauer Sharp again, first quarter.
Mhm.
Brennan Thompson throws a pass to Bauer Sharp. He's
Yes.
behind the defense
Oh, and
and
that's when we tried to kick the field goal.
should have
Or we
caught it,
did
and
kick a
it
field goal.
kind of hits him in the fingers,
Yeah.
and he doesn't score, and you're kind of like a trick play on third
Yes.
down. Anyway, we were able to kick a field goal, but we
Yeah.
missed it, and so you're like, okay, okay, great. So the
I
first
know.
quarter was less than stellar, but
Yeah.
we only allowed 3 points.
Yeah. That's when I
And then
told
we
Dana that
uh,
Caden Helms would have caught that ball.
he would have caught it. Well, the other question I have is, what did Bauer Sharp play before he became a tight end?
A QB.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
So
If you're going to do that,
why
why aren't you having
don't
him
we
throw
have
it?
him throwing the pass? I
Yeah.
don't
I don't know.
understand. If he threw the pass to Brennan Thompson, who's a wide
Mhm.
receiver by
Mhm.
trade, wouldn't that make more sense than to do it the other way around?
I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Whatever.
And then Bauer Sharp went on to catch all the other passes thrown to him. He had like
Yeah.
5 other catches.
I know.
He
Because
just didn't have
he
the
made me
touchdown.
mad. I was done with him.
Oh,
And then
me
I
too.
texted Dana at one point in time and I'm like, well, he is blocking okay on some of these
And I'm like,
plays.
I'm
So
done with him. I
yeah.
don't even like the kid. I don't
Yeah.
like him. And then he caught several good
He
balls,
did.
which was good.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I guess I'll forgive him. But
Okay.
he needed to catch that touchdown.
He did. And
Anyway, we
and he could
scored
have.
a field goal. It was a short field goal, and then we scored a touchdown.
Yeah, right before the half.
Right before half,
Yeah.
and so we had the ball
Mhm.
more 7 or 8 minutes longer than they did in the first half. And our first half stats, oh gosh, Sean, our total offense 242 yards, and 205 of that was rushing in the
Yeah.
first half.
Crazy.
That's more
Crazy.
than we've had in maybe 3 or 4 of the SEC games that we've
Right.
played. We didn't have that total offense.
Mhm.
Did we
Yeah.
have 240 yards total offense? And that was at a half.
Right.
And Bama had 97 total yards in their
Oh,
offense in that
really?
first half,
At the half.
and 35 was rushing. So
Okay.
yes, we had 150 more yards than they did. I mean,
Mhm.
that was defensive play. It
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
awesome. It
Yeah,
was
it was
awesome.
awesome.
And then of course they get the ball to start the third quarter, and you kind of think, come on, we need
I
it. We don't
know.
need to
Yeah.
have any letdown. We don't need to
Right.
have a bad quarter like we did against all the
We
other
don't need
SEC
them
teams.
to make halftime adjustments and us not, or us to sit on our laurels because it felt for a minute like, oh, we can't just sit on a lead, right?
Right. We're
Yeah.
not very good at that and
No.
haven't been for years.
Yeah.
But good heavens, Eli Bowen steps in the passing lane and he gets that
He
interception, and there
did.
are 3 Alabama guys around, and they didn't even know what to do.
No.
You know?
Eli had a heck of a game, man.
Oh,
He
he
was
did.
breaking up passes. He was he was coming up, making tackles, not just, making tackles like, on receivers. And
Oh,
Eli,
he
that
played so well.
kid.
He played every snap of the game.
Oh, did he?
Didn't come
Okay.
out. Yeah. I
Yeah.
saw that in another, like
Okay.
in a
Uh-huh.
thing about, how much everybody played, and he
Yeah.
played every snap. Um And yes, he makes that
Mhm.
incredible interception, runs it back for, I don't know,
Yeah.
15, 20 yards, gets it
Mhm.
down to about the 20, and
Yeah.
then that allowed the offense to score.
Mhm.
And I think Xavier Robinson actually got the
I think
credit
so
for
too.
that
Yeah.
touchdown. But it was one of those things where he and Jackson Arnold were both playing. They were
Mhm.
playing well in tandem, getting
Yes.
yardage.
Yeah.
And then what was the last score of the game?
The last score?
From us was another
Oh, Kip
defensive.
6.
Yes, Kip Six.
Kip 6.
His second of the year, which is
Mhm.
awesome. And yeah, again, he just sees, I guess he sees the pass,
Yeah.
and he just steps into the passing lane, and he's gone. It's
Yeah,
like you're
he
not going to
was
catch him.
gone. Nope.
Not going to catch
No.
him at all.
Yeah, it was so great. Yeah. I will say that last week when Florida beat LSU,
Uh-huh.
and word was that the players, they like Napier, They did not like everybody talking about how they should fire their coach. And, at least the story was they're like, we gotta, dig in because we need to show people that he is a good coach. He's doing good things. He has not lost us. We're here for him. So they beat LSU. I'm like, well, okay, maybe we can beat LSU, but it's at LSU,
But it's at LSU, yes.
But I'm trying not to let myself get too excited. And then yesterday, they beat Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
and I'm like, well, okay. Florida, who's sucked it up all year. I mean, they had a worse record than we did, prior to this run of these 2 games that they beat people who SEC teams that had legitimate chances to go to championships and maybe playoffs, right, at one point in time. And Florida's beating them. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe if Florida can do that, maybe we can.
Yep.
Maybe our guys are going to say, you know what? We are behind our coach. And it's senior day and it's our last game at the Palace. And I think they did it for Julie too.
Oh, they sure might have.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. If anybody listening doesn't know what we're talking about, Coach Venables said that Julie's breast cancer is back and
Yeah.
she's got to have another procedure, I think, in the next week or so.
Yeah, and I think she had, like, during one of the games a couple times ago, maybe the main game, she had surgery in Miami, like, around that time.
Oh, okay.
So,
I didn't realize
what
that.
I think I'd read. But, I don't really know for sure how much information that's coming out is actually accurate, because
Okay.
that stuff about the surgery in Miami, that was not from Coach V. So that
Okay.
was, but anyway, yes. So I just they played well. They gave it all they had. So it was great. It was so
Well,
fun. It was
it
fun
was
beating Bama.
it was a complete game, and I think you
Yes.
texted that during the
Complete
game,
game.
towards the end. It was a complete game. The offense played well for 4
Yes.
quarters.
Mm-hmm.
The defense played well for 4 quarters.
Yes.
And that's what it takes. The
Yes.
game plan, man, I have to say, Joe John Finley, way to go. You knocked this one out of the park. The game
Yeah.
plan was not anything I thought we could get accomplished.
Right. Yeah.
Though to just say we're gonna buckle down and we're gonna run that ball. The O line has started to gel,
Yeah.
which I'm very proud of them.
Mm-hmm.
There were holes on the left side, there were holes on the right side, there were some holes up the middle. And Jackson Arnold could see those holes and find them.
Mm-hmm.
And Xavier Robinson could see those holes and find them. I like the 2-back set.
Yes.
Where we've got
Yes.
Sawchuk in there blocking for Xavier, or Xavier and Sawchuk blocking for Jackson Arnold. It's like when there are 2 backs, 2 running backs, and the quarterback in the backfield, we've got some extra blockers. Now, that does put more defenders on the line, but as they're coming at you, you've got somebody that can peel off and block and hopefully create a hole further down the field.
Yeah. Well, then also, if we're not going to pass anyway, why would you have an extra weapon on the line going out as a wideout when you're not going to pass anyway?
When you're not even going to look at them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're blocking maybe downfield, but they're not blocking right there around the line of scrimmage, which is the hole you've got to get through to make yardage.
Yep. And so if you got 3 people in the backfield, they don't know for sure which person's going to have the ball, right? I mean, they may know we're going to run, but they don't know which one of those 3 is going to necessarily run. So it's like, if you've kind of given up on having a passing game, which kind of felt like they had.
It did. It felt like that. Now Arnold would do a few little shovel passes. Kind of as he got the ball, he might see, hey, I can throw it over, pass it over here to Xavier Robinson, and he can get further down the field. It seemed like there were a few of those that he went ahead and kept it on, that Robinson might have gotten a little better yardage. Yeah. But again, I'm up high. I can kind of see some of that develop.
Yes. Yeah,
and
that's true.
Pass it now. Oh, well, he's missed it.
Right.
But if he's still got positive yardage,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. If we
Yeah.
still got out past the line of scrimmage and got 2 or 3 or 4 yards, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, sure, I'll take 20 over 3, but if we're getting positive yardage, that's so much better than a sack,
yes.
you
Well, and
know?
it's, I mean, more yards per play than we have probably had in any game all season.
Yes,
I
we
don't know.
average 6.7 yards per play.
You do that, you're going to win,
You're
right?
gonna win.
Yeah.
And the running, of course, takes more time off the clock. But
Yes.
yeah, when we're finally up 24-3, I text Shawn, I'm like, roll, clock, roll. Come on, move it.
That's right. Forget
Because
roll, tide, roll, just roll, clock, roll.
there's still a whole quarter
Mm-hmm.
and there's probably 6 or 7 minutes left in the third quarter, and it's like, oh my goodness, hurry.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like the clock took forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
Even
but
though we know it didn't. We all have
right.
the same number of seconds in the minute, but it took forever.
Well, and because of all the running, it was actually a pretty quick game. I mean,
True.
relatively quick, not as long as, some of them. But there was an Alabama guy sitting next to me. I'd sold my
Okay.
fourth ticket and he was nice. But I engaged him in a little bit of conversation. He didn't have a great time. I don't think, because
Good. That's the way it should be at the Palace on the Prairie.
3-0, and then Alabama doesn't score at all the rest of the game. But I did say to him, well, he told me, he goes, I'm going to have to quit going to games. He goes, because I went to Vanderbilt.
Oh, so he's bad. He's bad luck.
And he said, and he goes, and they tore down the goalpost at that one. And it's so funny because I said to him, I go, I don't think we'll do that. I go, but we might storm the field. But I go, I don't think we're going to tear down the goalpost. What do I know? Nothing.
You know nothing.
I know nothing. But he did say that. But I did tell him, I said, I go, Milrow can look fabulous and Milrow can look not good. And
Right.
last night he did not look good.
He didn't. No,
No.
he had of course he had 200. Alabama had 234 total yards of offense in the game. So
Which
they
is
had
what we
97
had
at
at half.
first half and 234 total.
Yeah.
So he had totals of 70 yards rushing and 164 yards passing. I mean, that's more passing than we had. We had
Right.
68 yards
Oh
passing.
yeah, we didn't have a lot of passing yards.
But we finished with 325. So we finished with almost 100 extra yards than
Okay.
Bama.
Okay.
And the rushing was 257-70 for Bama. So that's mainly where our yardage
Right.
was. But yeah, Milrow threw 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
And he had 7 rushing yards total.
Yeah.
7. And I think they said he had 14 carries. So he averaged a half a yard per rush.
Oh, poor Milrow.
And I don't have the breakdown like Xavier Robinson had 6.1 yards per carry.
Okay.
I don't have the breakdown for Jackson Arnold, but if our overall was 6.7, he had to be around that 6 yards per carry too.
So who was the leading rusher, Xavier or Jackson?
Jackson Arnold.
Okay,
He had
I figured.
134 yards rushing, and Xavier had 107.
Okay, I figured he was. I will say along those lines that I don't think that's a game plan that we can successfully execute again.
Yes,
It's
I
gonna. I
agree.
mean, they'll key on him too much.
Right.
Yeah.
I will agree. Now, and maybe we can do it. Maybe we can do it with a few little changes for LSU.
Right.
But
yeah,
next year, we got to have a passing game. I mean,
we do.
You've got to have some balance to your offense.
Yeah, you do.
You just do. Or like you said, they're just going to put 11 on the front, and they're going to try their best to keep us from going past the line of scrimmage.
Well, you can't have your quarterback be your leading rusher because he's going to get hurt.
Right. Exactly. And then who comes in?
Yeah. I was so worried about that.
Yeah, he took a lot of hits.
He did. He took a lot of hits. But he did it. And but taking out the shovel passes, the few times he did throw a ball, more yards than, just a little out. I mean, like he had one early in the game, across the middle to Brennan Thompson. That was
Oh, yeah.
just a really, really nice
Yeah.
pass.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was right on target. It was really pretty. He had some a little bit further downfield. I mean, not bit. He didn't throw anything long, but to Bauer Sharp. So there are times that he can throw, and it'll just be interesting to see, what we do next weekend with the game plan. I do believe that Brennan Thompson's out for good.
Did you hear anything what it was?
I didn't, but he did not
He
put
wouldn't bear weight on
any
that
weight
leg
on
at
it at all when he
right?
came off. And he reached, so from where I was, and I don't know, it looked to me like he reached onto his leg between his knee and his hip, and he reached kind of towards his inner thigh is where he grabbed his hand right when he came down.
Okay.
But I mean, I almost though wondered, it seemed like somebody rolled up on him, and I mean, who knows? I know it's, harder to break your femur, but I mean, who knows? Or if he just got like, a deep bone bruise, or, God, I don't know. But that's where he reached, is, in
Okay.
his inner thigh. That's where his hand went. But yeah, he did not put any. I mean, sometimes those guys will kind of, when they're hobbling off, they'll try and put their toe down. He was hopping off.
Yeah.
No weight on it at all.
I could tell that, just from where we were, and it's like, that doesn't look good. And then, of course, he didn't come back.
Yeah. And I mean, it could have been, it's possible it hurt. He hurt himself lower down, but that's where he grabbed because that gave it support or something. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that's where the injury was, the initial point of injury. But yeah, he's not coming back. And, I was watching some of our wide receivers after he went out because, Kearney was out there, and the guy gets open, he gets separation, but, I mean, as you guys know, I like him. The ball doesn't come to him. I mean, that wasn't the game plan, and I can't fault the game plan too much. I mean, we beat Alabama 24-3, right? I mean,
it worked.
Yeah, we beat them by 3 touchdowns. Who am I to gripe about it? But
I don't think we can survive in the SEC next year with
I
just
agree.
a running game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Unless our offensive line, and I do think they're playing much better, but unless they grow
Yes.
and get extremely large, I think we're going to have trouble against some
Get
teams.
wider.
Yeah, if they grow wider and grow like extra arms, maybe they all have 4 arms, or a hydra or something like that.
Yes.
I guess they need more heads, just arms.
So,
but shout out to the O-line. I mean,
yes, for sure.
Ozeta playing left tackle and Howland playing left guard. Those guys took every snap, and Troy Everett and Spencer Brown. So Troy Everett's playing center and Spencer Brown's playing right tackle. The thing that I was looking at said they took every offensive snap in the game.
Okay.
And I knew I'd seen Eddie Pierre-Louis out there, and he subbed in and out some for Fabechi-Wiwu at right guard. So it showed that Fabechi-Wiwu had like 45 or 50 snaps. The other guys all had 65, I think, was the total offensive snaps, and Eddie Pierre would have had about 15 in there.
Okay. Well, that's good.
So I was proud of them.
And Eddie's a freshman, so that's good.
Eddie's a freshman. Ozeta and Howland are both freshmen too.
Okay, good.
Yes. So that is
that's good.
They're coming back.
That's good.
Everett's a junior. Sexton, who's been injured, is a junior. He should be back.
Oh, Everett's just a junior. Okay. For some reason. It was
and
senior day. It's not like they
Wiwu
call
is
his
a
name.
junior. Now Spencer Brown is
a senior.
gone. He was a senior. He was recognized. But I'm like, this is good. This is good because the 5-star recruit, Fasusi, is still kind of saying he may look around. He may need to talk some NIL collective. I mean, it sounds like he's not. He still says he's committed, but his agent needs to visit with OU. That was the last that I heard.
Because the stuff he posts on Twitter sounds like he's all in.
Okay, good.
Yes. So
Okay.
he posts stuff on Twitter like he's all in.
One of the things I was reading just said that he said he's not going to visit Texas A&M and Texas, but
Okay.
they both said that he's coming to visit.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
Well, this game helps with recruiting so
oh yes,
much.
oh yes,
Helps with recruiting so much.
and there
Because
were
it shows,
supposedly a bunch of
right?
recruits on the
Yes.
sidelines. I don't know who.
Oh, I saw him posting on Twitter too, because the recruits is going to be in Norman, and like Michael Hawkins' brother was there.
Okay.
So he's one that I had seen, and another one. I guess the kid who's going to be, because we had a quarterback flip to Florida
Oh,
State.
to Florida State. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which fine, whatever. Go play down there.
We'll help the Seminoles.
Yeah, but the 26 quarterback commit was there too.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, and he's out of California. I can't right now off the top of my head remember his name. I still have so much excitement in my head.
Me too.
But I was thinking that I'm like, what a big win that will impact recruiting, because even if we lose next week, recruits can still see, okay, they can do it. They can play with the big boys. They're just,
We need your help.
Yep,
Yeah.
we need your help.
We need your help. Come play.
It doesn't take that much. And especially if you're a defensive recruit, you're like, oh, well, Billy's gone, so somebody needs to be back there. Danny's gone, so hey, I'm a linebacker. I can step up. Ethan Downs is gone, which we've got a Weatherford boy who plays defensive end coming.
Oh, okay.
Another Weatherford boy. But, so, I mean, hopefully the recruits are saying, okay, you know what? That's a heck of a defense. Look what they did. They did something to Alabama that nobody has kept Alabama from scoring in the last 3 quarters since 2000 against Auburn.
Yes.
Alabama has not been prevented from getting a touchdown since 2011.
Yes. Can you believe it? I mean, that's a long time.
It's a long time.
That's 14 years.
Go defense. That was awesome.
Well, and the 234 total yards, that's the fewest that Bama has had since 2014. 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years that they've had more than that. And our defense held them to it.
And yes, Milroe did not have a good game, but you know what? That's because our defense pressured him also.
Oh, he was under duress the whole game. Yes.
And our defense did what we knew our defense could do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right. They kept him from running. Mm-hmm. They kept him from passing. They made him win the game with his arm. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, he was having a bad day.
Yes.
But when he'd throw those passes, a lot of them were spot on, and their receivers didn't catch them.
Yeah.
Why?
That's true.
Because our defenders were all over him.
Yes. Yeah.
There were no easy catches.
No.
There was Eli Bowen, there was Billy, there was somebody on him getting the ball. Woody Washington, those guys, they were all over.
Yes, Woody. I'm like,
oh yeah,
yay, Woody, because frankly, Woody, we love you. You've been a Sooner for a long time, and we appreciate it.
Yes,
but you haven't had the best year. You've been beat, and you've been out of position on more than one occasion, which has cost us. And he got an interception.
Oh, yes. Wasn't that fantastic?
It's great.
And you saw R. Mason Thomas is coming for Milroe and taking him down. And Milroe just kind of throws the ball up in the air. And Woody he grabs it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fantastic. Yeah. 3 interceptions. So we had the pick six, the Kip six, the Eli Bowen interception, and then, of course, Woody Washington's interception.
Yeah.
Couldn't have happened a better time.
Yeah.
And R. Mason Thomas got the sack. We also had 4 quarterback hurries that they counted and 9 tackle for loss. 9.
Look at that. That's awesome.
That's what we
awesome.
were doing
Mm-hmm.
to the non-SEC opponents.
Yes.
But then
Or
when
we
we
would do
started,
it for 2 quarters to the
yes,
SEC opponents. Yep.
and then we start playing SEC and we
Mm-hmm.
shoot ourselves in the foot
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again. And so,
Yeah.
they just they looked awesome.
So they did what we have felt for a long time that they could do. I mean, and they've,
Yeah.
like we've said, they played like 2.5, maybe even 3 quarters of great defense, but they just, against
And
these
then they give it
SEC,
up.
they couldn't play 4 quarters. But complimentary football, you got it if your offense is helping you out, right?
Right. You can't just rely on one side doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the other thing? This is Bama's first 3-loss season since 2010.
Oh my
Um,
goodness, I did not know that.
uh-huh, since
Oh,
2010.
wow.
And I got on just like an article that was about a Bama based
Yeah.
article, and they were like, Kalen DeBoer, it's time to wake up in T-Town. The party is over, and you are gonna have to do better. So he is in trouble. 3-loss season hadn't happened since 2010. Their fans aren't used to that, so he is in trouble.
So it hasn't happened since we went to Bama. I mean, that was
Correct.
probably about the time we went to Bama.
Right.
I
We
mean,
were probably there around then.
Saban wasn't there yet, but Franchione was. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I was looking up too that OU, we've played Bama 5 times
Mm-hmm.
since the early 2000s.
Okay.
We had a home and away, and that's
Mm-hmm.
when we went.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We beat them on our field. We beat them in Bama.
Mm-hmm.
So we won both those games.
Mm-hmm.
We beat them in the Sugar Bowl.
Yes.
They beat us in the Orange Bowl.
Yes.
And both of those were, college football playoff semifinals.
Yes.
And then we beat them last night.
Yeah.
So since the early 2000s, and I don't remember now what year that was that we did the home and away series.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
We've owned them. 4 wins, 1 loss.
We kind of have their number. Isn't that crazy?
That is
crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Nick Saban wasn't there until the Sugar Bowl.
Right.
But again, we snuck up on him. He didn't see it coming, did not expect us
Trevor Knight
to play.
Nope.
And we played lights out. Then
That's
he
why
beats
we
us in
didn't
the
go
Orange
to that
Bowl.
game.
Oh, I know. We should have gone, Shawn.
We should have gone. But we're like, last time we went to the Sugar Bowl, we played Nick Saban when he was with LSU and we
Oh, my
lost the
gosh. It
national
was horrible.
championship, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that again.
No. Yeah. And I don't really want to go to LSU. I hope that we play well, and
Me
I
too.
hope we can get a win. I just can't go. Those fans are nasty. They're awful.
Agreed.
I have no desire to even be around them.
Me neither. No.
Whereas the Bama fans were nice.
yeah.
I mean, I think my husband and I were laughing about it, on our way home. I said, I think them wearing red and us wearing red, they were kind of camouflaged.
Yes, that's
Like,
true.
We were in the upper deck when South Carolina beat us. And so walking down at the end of the game, you're just like, and they're like, we're so good. Go Gamecocks.
Okay.
Go,
Okay.
The same with Tennessee. Of course, again, it was a loss.
Yes.
On our, we lost. And of course, as we're clearing out, it's Boomer, Sooner, go Big Red,
Yes.
Texas sucks,
Sure.
But it wasn't anything really directed at Bama. And I didn't really see the Bama fans like wanting to slink away. But I thought we all have red on. So unless you've got an A on your hat, I don't know if you're a Sooner fan or a Bama fan.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
true.
that helped them get out of there.
Could be. It's funny. I was reading some little article that I saw on social media, and it said that OU and Bama use the same Pantone color. I think it's like Pantone 250 or something like that.
Okay.
So it's actually the same. I mean, their official color is the same. The same crimson, which it's kind of funny because I've always thought they had a little bit more blue in theirs than ours.
Yeah, I never thought it was
the
same.
I thought it was a little bit different, and they were talking. It said it's the same Pantone color, but like their helmets usually have their helmets have a little bit different gloss. Ours has that kind of sparkly stuff, and they don't have that, and so that's part of what makes it look like a different color. And then they don't use they don't do the stripes like we do, and stuff. And so that kind of changes it. But I thought that was interesting. But so, yes, it was funny because when you came in, it was hard to see if they
Correct.
just, like the guy who sat next to me, he had a jersey on. And I walked in, I kind of thought it was an OU fan. And then I'm looking and I'm going, oh, that's an Alabama jersey,
Yeah. Well, that's what I'd see a name and think, that's not one of our players.
Yeah, that's how I was too.
And then I'm like, oh gosh, that's gotta be a Bama.
Yeah.
If you saw it from behind, it was just
Yeah.
red and crimson and
Right.
numbers.
Yes. Yeah. The crimson's better than red. But last week on game day, and I fully expected us to not be having a great, fun conversation. So I had all these different topics that had nothing to do with OU football.
Okay.
But this one, it ends up having to do with OU football. So Nick Saban was talking about, and he was talking about how the SEC has been kind of beating each other up.
Oh, they have. Yeah.
But he said the teams have no depth because of the portal.
I believe
Because
it.
if a player wants to play, they leave.
Uh-huh.
And if your player isn't there, you bring somebody in. But so no teams don't have depth. And so when somebody gets hurt or when it's towards the end of the season and, you get those little minor injuries and somebody can't play, you don't have any depth, and it can make a big difference. Even if you have a guy that's out just one game, right? You might lose that game. And he's saying that, and I'm like, okay, that's true when I think about our wide receiver room, because we're all like, but that's not an excuse. But Saban's point was too, our wide receivers who are all hurt are the experienced guys. He goes, and you haven't yet developed your young guys into your system. And he said, and then his point was, once you kind of do, they leave or whatever, and so he goes, it's going to keep happening, is what his point was.
Uh-huh.
But along that line, I'm like, okay, now these O-line guys, we had injuries, but they've been working together this season, so we're starting with some of these guys to hit their stride.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have the depth. They hadn't yet been developed as much, but now they're getting there. And Venables was even saying that in the post-game show, how these O-linemen, they've been working, and he goes, they've always been working hard, and they've always had the talent. They just haven't had the development yet. He goes, Bedenbaugh has always been a good coach. It's not like he lost it.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, so
it just takes time.
It takes time. And so it's almost like with that game plan, like they finally am like, okay, our wide receiver room has been decimated. Our young guys with this quarterback maybe aren't quite there yet. So we're going to have a game plan where we're not worried so much about getting those passes
About
off,
the passes.
getting the clean routes ran, stuff like that. I don't know. It's just, I had written that down so we could have a talk about basically the transfer portal and what it means to football.
Well,
but then I'm like,
and it does. It takes all your depth,
Yeah.
If someone's like, well, I ought to be starting. I'm good enough to start, but they've got me on second or third string, or I'm on the scout team.
Yes.
Well, I'll just go somewhere else where I can play.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them for that.
Right.
But then who does that leave for us to have as a backup?
I know. Yeah. Especially when they're getting paid, what does that mean for that? What does it mean when, they jump somewhere and take somebody else's spot there? Eventually I think they're going to have to do something about the portal, and we've talked about that before, and today's not necessarily the time to talk about that. But I just thought when he said that, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And then when I saw how we performed yesterday, it's like some of these guys who are having to play maybe sooner than they expected, or getting more responsibility than they probably should have at this time, are finally getting that development, but it's just game time development, and it's not off-season development.
Right. Right.
It's when it counts, and that's not ideal, but that's how it is.
That's how it's had to be this season. Yeah. That's true. That's true. It's like, oh, put your helmet on. It's your turn.
Yes,
Get in there.
exactly.
Hope you were paying attention.
And Saban too, he knows, because Alabama's philosophy for years and years was next man up. But it's not going to be that way for anybody. Even, it's obviously not even that way for Georgia right now,
Right.
because that next man up is no longer there, because he's decided he's going to go to SMU so he can actually get on the field.
Right.
Or whatever. So
right, exactly. Or he got a better deal at Missouri, or
that too.
Yes.
Getting more money
at some point there will have to be some better rules and regulations. They'll just have to be.
Or we're just going to be a farm system for the NFL, and that'll make me sad.
Right. And then that takes away, I guess, some of the competitiveness,
But it takes away what happened last night, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just part of the joy of college football, right? And I saw this really fun picture too on social media, where it had a picture much like the one you sent me of the Auburn A&M game, because I guess Auburn stormed the field.
4 overtimes. Yes. Auburn wins.
Yeah. By 2, right? They
won
by 2?
By 2. Mm-hmm. So it went to the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it had Auburn and then the OU Bama game. And just the headline was, "Isn't college football great?"
True.
Yeah.
As long as you're on the winning side. It's not so great if you're the loser.
No, and
we've been that too many times,
We have. Yeah.
For us to, this is our first SEC home win. Our first in the season, Shawn.
It is. That's sad.
Tennessee beat us.
Yeah.
South Carolina beat us. Texas, of course, is a neutral site, and it may have been considered a home. That changes. They consider home and away.
Right.
But this is the first and only SEC win that we're going to have this year.
Well, a home win. Yes,
home win.
And so far
we won at Auburn.
Yeah, so we only have 2 SEC wins, right?
Correct. We're 2-5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we beat Bama.
But we beat Bama. And hey, Bama was ranked 7th.
Yes. Yeah.
And what I found interesting, we got home and we had to turn on ESPN, and of course the SEC network does, goes through all of the games. And their main thing, especially on the SEC network, wasn't how great OU looks and how well they played to beat Bama. It was poor Bama lost, and that really messed up the college playoffs.
Fine, whatever.
They've got 3 losses, and what are we going to do now? I guess they're not going to make it. Dang. Instead of, wow, you beat them. That of course was my take on it. But
no. Yeah, I agree with you, because I think they've had it plugged in, right?
They've had it plugged in.
Well, and Ole Miss loss messed them up too, because they had Ole Miss plugged in too.
Yes. So so the other thing that I saw too, and this wasn't on the TV last night, but I was reading through some things, and it said that Greg Sankey, the SEC top dog commissioner, yes, he tweeted out earlier this week about the strength of schedule rankings for all of the SEC, for all the 2-loss teams listed in the top 25.
Okay.
And he did it just to show how great the strength of schedule was in the SEC. So the 2-loss teams in the SEC should be ranked higher than a 2-loss team down in the lower 20s. As a way to get them into the college playoff.
Unless you are Texas, which granted they're not a 2-loss team yet, because Texas does not have a win against a currently ranked opponent.
You're right. Yeah. The teams they've played in the SEC aren't ranked.
Yes, but the teams they've beaten, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They just have the 1 loss. But he had tweeted that out, and it was Bama. Of course, the 2-loss teams then were Georgia, Tennessee, and they both they either didn't play yesterday or they won.
Yeah, Tennessee played somebody easy. It's one of those non-conference games. Yeah.
And so Georgia, Tennessee, Bama, and Ole Miss. But then
Mhm.
2 of those lost,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
kind of messed up his tweet. So now 2 of
Yes.
those are 3-loss teams,
Right.
and then A&M lost, and
Mhm.
that made them become a 2-loss team. So right now, the top
Okay.
of the SEC is Texas with 1 loss,
Mhm.
and that was to Georgia. Texas A&M has 2 losses. One of those was South Carolina, and then they lost to Auburn. Georgia is a 2-loss team. They lost to Bama
Mhm.
and Ole Miss, and
Okay.
Tennessee's a 2-loss team. They lost to Arkansas and Georgia.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and they've
So,
all got a loss, like a not quality loss, right? I mean,
yes,
they've
right,
all, like Tennessee losing to Arkansas. I mean, because Arkansas tore down their goalposts. Again,
right.
Bama, prior to last night. Well, even Bama lost to Vandy and
To
OU.
Vandy
Neither
and
of those
OU,
would be considered
neither ranked
quality losses.
opponents.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Georgia, well, of course, I guess they lost to Bama and Ole Miss, but both of those are 3-loss teams. So
Yes.
those aren't very good losses,
No.
Georgia. I mean, those
Yeah.
are 3-loss teams that
Right.
beat you.
Right. When you're Indiana and you've only lost to Ohio State.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, Greg Sankey, I think he thought he was doing the SEC a favor, and then to me,
Mhm.
it looks like it backfired because he's
Yes.
like, look how great our strength of schedule was. Oh,
Mhm.
but 2 of those 2-loss teams are now 3-loss teams.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They're not looking so great
They should
anymore.
not be in the
No.
playoffs. I mean, if they're 3-loss teams, like
Right.
is
Exactly.
Bama, and yet the other thing that the college playoff is looking at, it's like, who did you lose to, but also who did you beat?
Right.
So like Georgia's been held to this. They're like, well, Bama beat us, but
Mhm.
we've beaten everybody else. Well,
Mhm.
but Bama has 3 losses
Yeah.
and they beat you.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
they're going to want to kind of cover that up now, and then just
Mhm.
look at look at who we've beat. But
Yeah.
up until now, it seems to me like it's been. But we lost to these teams, but they're great teams.
Right. Exactly.
We'll see.
Yeah. But last
We're
week.
not making the college football
No.
playoff, so I guess it
That's
doesn't
right.
matter.
That's right. But we are now bowl eligible. So there's that.
Yay, we're going bowling. Yes, we're going
Yes.
bowling.
Yes.
And who
Yeah.
knows? There are all sorts of rumors that they may try and stick us to play USC, or they may try and
Oh, I wouldn't be
stick
surprised.
us to play
I was
somebody like
thinking that.
Nebraska, just because it would
Yeah.
draw attention, and we're
Sure.
not going to be in the playoffs. Who knows?
View it. Yeah. I just I want to stay as far away from Lincoln Riley as I can, but it also, if we were going to win and beat them, that would be hilarious.
Wouldn't that be? That would be
It'd be
great.
so
Yes,
funny.
I agree. I
So
agree.
funny.
But yes, he would do his darndest to try and beat us.
Yes, of course. Well, we do our darndest to try and beat them too. He'd probably have a hard time with our defense, actually.
Oh, I think you would. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
he'd
think
have a
so.
hard time with our defense.
They have changed quarterbacks, and I
USC
don't.
has.
I don't know the name of the backup to Miller Moss. Started this against UCLA, and then
Okay.
started the game before, and they've
Okay.
won both those games.
Mhm.
But that's all I know.
Who knows?
They're like, are they 6-5 maybe right now? But they play Notre Dame. That's their last game.
Okay.
So
They'll probably.
I think they'll finish 6-6.
Okay.
Who knows?
So, Dana, were you there the last time? You probably were there the last time OU stormed the field.
When was it, Shawn?
It was in 2000 against Nebraska.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was there. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So, for those who are watching, you can see that sign back there. Cheer like a
Cheer like a
champion
champion
today.
today.
Yeah, that's when we got that, because we went out on. Did you go out on the field?
No, we didn't go
Okay.
out on the field.
My dad and me and Brett, we went out on the field, and we hung out there a long time too. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
You rule breaker.
So much fun. What a great time. And then we stole that sign. Because
I didn't realize that's where it came from.
Yes, when you walk into the stadium, and you're going kind of through the tunnel, that was taped up above there. And when we left the stadium, there was like nobody, hardly anybody. I mean, we stayed out on the field a long time, and it was up there, and Brett goes, "That's just taped up there." I guess I'm gonna get that.
I'm gonna steal it.
I'm like, okay, you get it. So 24 years later, we still have it. Cheer like a champion. Cheer like a champion today. But I mean, I don't think we stormed it since then.
Not that I'm
I
aware
mean,
of. Now, I was there when OSU stormed it.
oh,
They
yes,
stormed our field in Norman,
that's
and I don't
right.
remember. I mean, that was in the Bob Stoops era. That was
That
when
Okay, so my daughter graduated from college in 2018, and her friend was, is that the year that we went into overtime?
I don't remember if it was that year or if it was the year that we kicked to the punt returner.
Yeah, that
And
was it. That year
uh,
that was
okay,
overtime.
okay, I
So
didn't remember that we went into overtime. Yes,
that would have been prior to 2018. And Brianna's best friend was going to Oklahoma State. And they came to the game, and OU was winning. And it was like, in the fourth quarter, and Laura Kate and Brianna were getting, Laura Kate was kind of done with the game. She's like, ah, OSU's sucking and
so
we're
they left.
losing. So they're like, we're going to go to the restaurant. We'll meet you there. We're going to go ahead and get a table. They're like, aren't you coming? And I go, no, I have
No,
seen this turnaround. And they're like, it's not going to turn around. I go, okay. And so they text us at some point in time and they're like, where are you guys? I go, the game went into overtime and OSU won. And they're like, oh, that's funny, Shawn. I mean,
he said
Brianna's friend was, yeah, okay,
that's the
that's a good
truth.
joke. And I'm like, no, it's the truth. I'm like, and you guys left. And Laura Kate, this
Yeah,
OSU grad, I mean, at that time she hadn't
she's there in
graduated yet,
school.
but she's like, what? I left. I go, yeah, I told you guys not to leave.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they stormed the field. They tore the goalpost down. They picked it up and they threw one of them. They carried it up and over the stadium and threw it
That's right.
over
I
the
remember
side.
hearing about that.
You know,
Yeah.
and we were in the
I was so
stadium.
disgusted.
Well, we talked about leaving, and then we're like, we may
Yeah,
be
that would have been
safer
dangerous.
to
Yeah,
just
safer to
stay
stay.
here
Mm-hmm.
because when that goalpost went over, it had to have hurt somebody on the other side, like they didn't know it was coming.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was the south end zone that I remember them
Yes.
throwing it over. I mean,
Oh my
and it
goodness.
wasn't, it wasn't totally, there weren't all the concessions. It wasn't totally bowled
It
in over
wasn't
there. It
built
was a
out yet.
shorter,
Yeah.
yeah, it was shorter and so easier
Uh-huh.
to throw the goalpost over.
Gosh. Yeah.
I,
Anyway.
I remember that one vividly. I don't remember the year, but
Yeah.
anyway, that is all I have. It was a fantastic
It was
game.
fun. It was great. I didn't
Um,
get home till 1:30 and I don't care.
Yeah, I didn't care either. Yeah. The other thing that I did want to say, we had 14 freshmen burn their red shirts
Okay.
as the year has gone on. But I didn't write the tweet down, but there was a little tweet about when you come to play for a team like OU, you can come in to change the future or you can come in to cement the future.
Okay.
And so I took that as our seniors came in to change the future because
Mm-hmm.
we had
Yes.
not had a defensive mindset in years,
Right.
all the time of Lincoln Riley.
Uh-huh.
And so the senior guys came in to change the future, to change it and make it
Mm-hmm.
different and
Yes.
make a difference. And our young freshmen who came in and made all these wonderful plays
Mm-hmm.
on
Yeah.
senior night and looked awesome,
Mm-hmm.
they came in to cement that change
Yeah.
so that our defense continues to be great going forward. And we've got to get the offense up and running better, but we're seeing definite changes from the start of the SEC play. So we've got both of those things at work, which is awesome.
Yeah, that is. I love that. I love that. And yeah, I saw Xavier Robinson. Somebody had asked him about his red shirt, and he goes, "Hey, if I can help the team out, burn my red shirt, whatever." I mean, and why wouldn't you? I mean, the kid is
Right.
great.
And
Eli
let them.
Bowen is great.
Let
Jacob
them play.
Jordan is great.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they need to be out there
Mm-hmm.
contributing
Yeah.
because like we've talked about, our older guys are injured, unable to play. They can help
Mm-hmm.
mentor them, but they
Yes.
can't play the game for them. So
Right.
they've got to get them out on the field.
Yeah, and that's a great point too, how they help mentor them. Because I've heard a lot of those wide receivers, they are doing just that, that
Mhm.
they're still there helping make those guys great players, and they're still being leaders, even though they're not able to get out on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good.
All right. Until next week, I guess. We do play
Yes.
LSU. It's a 6 p.m. kick on
Okay, it's a night game.
ESPN.
Oh, that's right. I knew it was
Yes,
a night game.
it's
Yeah.
a night game.
Yep.
Now, Texas A&M will be playing on ABC, and I think it's a 7 o'clock kick, I think. So
Okay.
our game will at least be underway a little bit before that game
Okay.
kicks off. But we've
And
got to root for the Aggies.
well, yeah, go A&M for sure. That game, we'll talk about a game that's going to be rocking, which also shout out to our fans. You guys might have gone out on the field too soon, but you did cheer
Oh,
loudly.
yes.
It
Yes.
was
Shout out to the fans.
great.
Yes.
It was great.
It was loud and
Yeah.
proud.
But you know it's going to be rocking at Kyle Field.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? I'm kind of thinking that since they lost to Auburn, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. I wonder, did they overlook Auburn
I bet they did.
preparing for Texas?
Yes.
You think, yeah, we can beat Auburn. I mean, and
Well,
they
didn't
didn't.
Elko wasn't he interviewed and he kind of made a slip up and said, or Freudian slip? I mean, and somebody said something and he's going, "No, we're just focused on Texas." And they go, I mean, Auburn. I think that
Okay.
happened.
Earlier
I may
this
be wrong.
week.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He should not have done that, huh?
No.
Well, we're all human.
We're all human. But anyway, yes, cheer for the Aggies. Cheer for the Sooners next week.
Right.
We'll be
Let's
there.
make it, instead of 6-5, let's make our record 7-5. How about that?
I would like that.
We can do it.
That very much. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do it. Hey, Florida beat LSU. We can beat LSU.
Exactly.
We can. Yeah. So, just a couple of gals out here with lots of opinions and hot takes. Join us here next time as we talk sporty.
All right. Bye.
Yay, Sooners, you beat Alabama. Woo!
Woo!